It is I, Irina, and I cannot wait to have this conversation with you today because we're diving in to efficiency hacks and how you can really maximize your efficiency in your job search, your career, or really everything that you do on a day-to-day basis for peace of mind and a little bit of sanity. I'll be sharing what works for me in terms of juggling many things, staying organized, staying focused, getting things done, unlocking more hours in the day. I'm also going to be breaking down 2 frameworks that I've created that I share with my clients, which are my abundance and focus frameworks that I personally do every day. It has transformed my life and I've never shared them with you. So that's what we're getting into. And today's episode, you can really apply to literally anything. This is about your day, all of the hours that you have in the day, no matter what you're working on, whether it's applying for work, juggling that and your career, your job, your family, all of the things that are going on from a day-to-day basis to really maximize reaching your goals as soon as possible. So this has been one of the biggest game changers for my clients because job search is a whole job on its own, right? It takes a ton of time, especially when things are not working. So this is about structuring your day to get the most out of it, to get the most done. But again, we're not focusing just on job search. You can apply this literally to any parts of your life and career. Today in our day and age, there are so many people that are so busy. They're doing a million small little things and doing this and doing this. And then they don't feel like productive. They don't feel like they're actually accomplishing their goals or moving forward, and they're staying stuck way longer than they have to. So we're going to break this down today. But before we dive into today's episode, I have a special announcement. So this week, literally on Thursday, November 13th, if you're listening to this live, I am hosting a live Q&A session where I literally don't have an agenda. You can hop in and ask me anything about your job search to move you forward, where you're getting stuck, tap into that community and hear what others are asking and learn from it. I always love these calls. And if recently you listened to my live Q&A from the Career Cravings podcast, that is going to be the vibe. So literally come ask me anything. I will give you coaching on the spot. And the next one of these, I'm probably going to host in some point in Q1, so in 2026. So do not miss it. Be there. It'll be like 90 minutes long. And if you swipe up, the link is in the show notes. So I'll see you there on Thursday. Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. I always hear from people, especially job seekers, I feel stuck. I'm in busy mode. I'm doing this and this, and I'm doing this. And I was just talking to an entrepreneur friend of mine, and we were trying to coordinate getting together to film a podcast episode because her book is coming out. It's so exciting. We're talking. I'm like, okay, I have these 3 trips and we can try to fit a time in between then. Oh, and then on Wednesdays, I have my HR start call and then And we're trying to find a time. And she's like, I'm launching a book. I am moving. There's always so much going on. We're stuck in this busy mode often, right? And especially if you're here because you're looking for your next role or you're about to in the next year, job seekers are often refreshing job boards, right? They're tweaking their resume for the 100th time. They're responding to that random LinkedIn message, and then they get sucked into looking at all these other posts of people landing their dream roles, and then they're not actually advancing their search in the right way, strategically. And the truth is, we all do this, right? We can all confuse action and doing stuff with progress. So yes, you can look at answering a DM and then a text from a friend and then responding to a comment on LinkedIn. And then all these little things, they really add up to stealing our most valuable asset, which is time, because it feels good to check little boxes. It feels good to be oh, I answered my emails. And then it's oh, okay, but how did that actually move you closer towards your goals? And moving towards your goals strategically is something that has actually been identified as one of my top strengths. So that's why I'm super passionate about talking about it. And you're like, Irina, who identified this for you? We're going to get into that and how I came to know this about myself. And success leaves clues, right? People often will ask you things about things that you're good at. So I'm often asked about like, how do you stay focused on doing X, Y, Z? How do you do that? How is that something that's moving forward for you from entrepreneurs, from people at work in the past? And the reason this comes natural to me is because it's a strength. So I want to break down how I tapped into that strength and then the processes that I have in place that are really working for me in case they work for you too. Okay. Because here's the thing, when your attention is fragmented on a million different things, you might feel like you're super busy. You might feel like you're doing a lot, but actually when you take a strategic tally of the hours that have been lost doing those small tasks that aren't moving you forward, like emails and DMs and things like that, and applications and tweaking again, then those things are often actually holding you back from your biggest goals because task switching takes up a lot of time. There's been a ton of studies that have been done where it's like they say when you move from one task to another, to another, to another, you lose a ton of hours in efficiency because it takes some time for our brain to like really figure out like, okay, we're doing this now. Okay, cool. And then it takes a minute to really get there. Task switching is something I never believe in. It's something I absolutely don't do. I call that like the scrappy approach. And sometimes I'll have like a couple hours of that scrappy work where I do need to do this and this and this. But I have this focused time of working on certain projects. So taking you back to how I know that focus is actually one of my top strengths. So I have a book in front of me, which is called The Strength Finder 2.0 from Gallup. I've actually placed a client at Gallup. And when she landed the role, I was like, oh my goodness, because I got so excited. I'm like, I love their stuff. So I am a personal development book junkie. I've probably read at least 100 personal development books. And I love books specifically that are strengths based. And that's because I'm a strengths based coach. So I believe in tapping into your natural strengths to really make an impact. So instead of trying to fix the things you're not so good at and like leaning into those and trying to fix them, that takes a lot more effort and it's a lot less efficient than tapping into your natural strengths as a person, knowing where you shine and really using that to propel you forward. That is much more effective. And that's my coaching philosophy. That's how I coach all of my clients. We all know we all have different blind spots. We're not all good at everything. Absolutely not. I definitely am not. But we do all have strengths. And if you've read this book before, freaking amazing. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm going to kind of give you a quick rundown of just what it is. Actually, when I was working as the director of talent, I was creating programs for people to get them to the next level. It was the thing I loved most about that job, or anything HR related. And one of the things I did was design a high potential program. And as part of that, I was like, what is a gift that I could give these people that are like, we selected 20 of the top talent across the whole company. And I'm like, okay, we're going to be investing in their development. We're going to create courses for them. We want to make this an amazing experience. How do I do that? It was actually one of the first like end-to-end coaching programs that I've created before even starting this business. But one of the things I did was decided everyone's going to get this book and assessment because I wanted everyone to tap into what their natural goals and strengths were so that they can accomplish things even faster. So this was something we did. And then we did a debrief. We did a whole session. It was super fun. This book, if you've never read it, it's like the quickest read ever. You could probably do it in an hour. The cool thing is, though, it comes with an assessment. So when you buy the book at the end, I'm looking at mine, and this one's super old, by the way, but at the end, they give you a link to do your personal assessment to find out what your specific strengths are. And there's many of them, but they're going to identify your 5 top strengths that come the most naturally to you. So I'm just going to I wasn't even going to talk about this in this episode. Can you imagine? I was just going to share my framework. And then I looked in my notebook. Okay, I'm flipping it over. I'm looking at the start because I had highlighted out of all of the strengths what my specific ones were. We're only going to tap into the focus one. So my top strength is literally focus. These are not in any order. These are my top 5. So focus, activator, individualization, maximizer, and strategic. And my top 2 were actually strategic and focus. So those were the 2. Activator, I mean, no surprise with being a coach. Maximizer, no surprise again. And individualization. I'm actually going to reread this after this episode because I'm going to read it now from a brand new lens. The first time I read this book, one of my first bosses gave me this book originally years and years and years ago, like 15 years ago when I was just starting my career. And when I did it then, my strengths were really similar. I had actually looked back at my emails and found my old results. And your results might change over time a little bit, not too much, but they will have a different lens and viewpoint when you read the takeaways from it. So basically, the book identifies your top 5 strengths, and then you can read about those, how to maximize them, how to apply them, things like that. When I say that focus is a natural strength of mine, literally, it has been identified here, but I could also see it in the way that I approach my work naturally, which we don't often talk about the way in which we work or how we get things done. So I always find it interesting to hear the way others work and the way that other people get things done. I find it very, very mind-opening. But when I speak to different entrepreneurial friends, when we go to like retreats, when we talk about all this stuff, I always know people look at me sideways. They're like, you what? And then the questions they ask are often related to the focus piece. They're like, how do you do that? What do you mean? And then I ask them about other things, obviously. So there are 2 practices that I do every single day that I'm going to share with you that you can apply as well. But first, I'm just going to pop into the focus page of this book. So the Strengths Finder from Gallup. And I'm just going to read you a little bit of what focus means and how it's defined. So focus, you're often asking yourself, where am I heading? You ask this question every day. And yes, I do. Like when you read these are going to be so spot on. That always shocked me about this assessment because it's like the quickest assessment, but it's so good. Guided by the theme of focus, you need a clear destination. Lacking one, your life and your work can quickly become frustrating. So each year, each month, and each week, you set goals, and these goals serve as your compass, helping you determine priorities and make necessary corrections to get back on course. Your focus is powerful because it forces you to filter, and then it gives you a ton of tips of how to apply this. This could not be more to me to a T. I'm obsessed with goal setting. I'm going to lift it up. I have my agenda literally open in front of me as well. If you can't see this, then that is fine. But I always have it, and I always have a plan for the day that is really my guiding force. And there's 2 ways that I do this, and you can apply this too. So obsessed with this practice, would love to hear if this is something you're going to apply or if this is something you do as well. So every single day, Monday to Thursday, sometimes Monday to Friday, it depends on like what the schedule is. I have 2 sacred time blocks in my day. Now, if I'm traveling, whatever the case is, obviously, if I have an event, things are looking different. Fridays, I like to kind of leave more open-ended. So sometimes I'm not having those blocks. Often Fridays are like my filming day for the podcast. So there's kind of different priorities, but there are 2 specific sacred time blocks. They are sacred. Nothing ever comes in between me and these time blocks. And that is that focus. So the first one is a focus time. So, okay, focus time is something that really comes from deep work. So identifying one top priority that needs to be done that would move my goals forward the most. Okay, so this is my focus block. And this block can be 1 hour. So it could be a focused hour to do the deepest work. And that's often enough when you have no interruptions to get something done. Or it could be like 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. And it just depends. But I will set a focus block in my calendar where I will never read an email. I will never look at a text message. Like that is the number one focus of the day. And I am not talking about emails or calls or responding to anyone else's priorities or even coaching calls. Like this is not focused work. Focused work is like when you look at your projects that you want to get done for the month. Let's say your goal, let's use a job search example. Your goal for the month is to send out, 20 networking requests and coffee chat requests. Okay, amazing. In your focused hour every single day, you would set a goal to move closer to that. So every day you're going to make 5 meaningful connections. And then hopefully at the end of the month, you're going to have those 20 people that you connect with for coffee chats. Or, you want to get out 100 applications or whatever the case is, right? But you're going to really set a time to do this. And it's going to be specific. You know exactly when you're doing it. I'll give you a ton of examples. from my personal life because every single day I have a focused hour and it can change. So I assess what is like the number one most important thing. So for example, I'm hosting an event, like I mentioned, I'm hosting a Q&A session. Now, this session doesn't just happen. I don't just randomly show up to a session and hope that you're going to be there. I need to have a set number of things that are done, and it's like a mini project. So I need to have a page that you can swipe up from this episode and you can actually register. That will then give you the calendar invite. So I need to assign that to my assistant to get done, right? I need to give her the date, the time. Then I need to go into Zoom. I need to check it. I need to make sure all the settings are working, all of that stuff. So this is like a mini project with many steps. Then I need to remember to come on this podcast and tell you about it. Otherwise, you won't know to come. Then I need to write a newsletter and assign my assistant to actually get it up into my systems so that it comes out to remind you to attend the event through email as well. Then I need to think about, okay, do I want slides? Do I want it to be fully open-ended? Like, how do I want it to be? How do I want to structure it? How is it going to be more effective? Is there a giveaway? I love to do prizes. Like, am I going to do a prize? Am I going to do a giveaway? Last time I was giving stuff away live at my event, like literally announcing prize winners live. I'm like, and Alyssa, are you here? And like, it was super, super fun. So it's like, there are so many decisions, but knowing that that is a project that I need to get done, I can assign, let's say 2 or 3 hours to that, call that my focus block of the day, and then make sure all of those mini tasks within that project are completed during that focus hour. Now, what most people do is if they have a big project, they're like, okay, on Monday, I'm going to create an email. Make sure that it's on the newsletter. On Tuesday, I'll record the podcast. On Thursday, I'll do this. And there's like, it drags it out where because you're task switching, doing this and then focusing on this and then losing your train of thought and then not carrying the thought, like not making all of the decisions related to that project or that thing that you're working on in the moment will mean that it's going to take you weeks instead of doing it in a couple of hours, right? If I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to later come back to this and then think about assigning this to my assistant and then make the decision on whether I'm giving away prizes or not, or then I'm going to pick a date for it, like it will literally never move forward. And with what I do, I need to make decisions very quickly. That is something that needs to be done strategically, but quickly. And to move things forward as quickly as I like, right? Like recently I held 5 events in 5 weeks. That would never happen if things weren't focused and done in a specific period. I'll give you another example. So focus time, this podcast, literally for me to record, I have never missed an episode. Weekly, these are coming out, and some weeks there's 2 episodes coming out. I've never missed an episode once. And that comes from focus, work, and planning. So literally, I'll put in my calendar when exactly I'm filming, what time that is, and there is nothing that can come in my way between me doing that because there's so much that goes into this too. So when we talk about the podcast, it is one of my favorite things to work on, by the way. So the focus hour, like I look forward to it, but I may film it for, let's say 45 minutes, the whole thing. I'm testing the mic, whatever. Let's say it's an hour, that's an hour. But then I actually need to copy the transcript and then create the show notes and then send the copy of it to my editor who will edit it. And then we're going to do the clips and my assistant's going to help me edit those. And then we're going to schedule them. Like there's so many parts that go into just one episode where, yes, I might be on the mic for about an hour, but like the whole thing, when you count everything that goes into it, including the newsletter that announces it and looking at it and reviewing it and testing it and scheduling it in the system, like it is literally one day to have this come out. It does require focused time to do each one of those activities as a project by batching all at once. So I never want you to underestimate the power of 1 hour completely undistracted, high quality, focusing into one thing that moves you forward. No emails, no calls, no quick replies, no looking at social media, like nothing. This is literally where you close down your inbox, you do that most important thing, and then you make sure that that most important thing to you is done that day. An email can't come up and derail you. There is no way. You're not looking for that hour. You're doing other stuff, right? So that focused hour is everything. It is my secret weapon. It is so, so important. This is how I make sure the most important things get done instead of just doing the easy things. People are often just getting the small, easy things out of their way. Like, oh, well, the laundry needs to be done, so I'm going to go do that because like they're avoiding the project, they're avoiding the thing. And it's like, eat the frog first, right? If you've ever read that book, if you do that focus work, you have it in your calendar, you stick to it, it's non-negotiable, it is like sacred, then you will get that done. And I have at least 1 hour of focus time a day. Sometimes it's, again, 3 hours, depending on what that project is. I'll be sharing the new project that I'm working on where the focused hour comes in so critically. It's been literally saving my life because it's a lot. So I'll be sharing that with you on the 50th episode of the podcast as well. Surprise! I have a big announcement and I would love to invite you to a special event that I'm hosting this month on November 13th. It is a live Q&A call with me where you can join for free and ask me any of your job search questions. So if you're someone who's looking for your next opportunity right now and you've wanted my advice, that's why you're listening into the podcast, then I cannot wait to support you. You can swipe up in the show notes and save your seat for free to join my Q&A call and get some free coaching from me. I can't wait to see you there. So when you're in your focused hour, your phone is off, your Slack is closed. No one can message you in that hour to work on anything else or they're burning fires, right? I remember like in corporate, I'd always have my Slack on, especially like when it was COVID and you had to like prove that you were online and like I'd always have it on just in case so everyone knew I was there. And like this killed my productivity because I'd get a random message of someone that's like, I need my pay stub, I need this, or someone's like, oh, this person quit. And it's like their emergencies will take away from you accomplishing your goals. So whatever that is for you, your focused hour might literally be, so this is about deep work. So we're not talking about like going to the gym and focusing there, which that's important to be present in as well. But I'm really talking about like, what are the projects? What are the things that if you did, they would move you forward, right? Say you're studying. It would be literally studying for an exam. Say you're writing some sort of test or exam, you're studying for something. Maybe you're doing your MBA right now. That focused hour would literally be reading this chapter, preparing for this, like no interruptions, phone off, Slack closed. And for you in your job search, that might mean, say you're working on your resume. You're creating one strategic version instead of updating it countless hours all the time, going back to it over and over again. Or maybe it's your focused time of preparing for your interviews, your top stories. You're like, I'm going to create 1 hour blocks to really do my storytelling method, to walk through and do the story stroll that we talked about recently on the podcast as well. Whatever that is, maybe it's reaching out to people that would be mentors for you, right? So do that deep work. Don't do it randomly. Don't do it sporadically. And please, for the love of God, never leave it up to chance. Do not just think, oh, my biggest goals are going to be accomplished when I find time for them. No, they're your first priority. They come first before anything else. And there will never be the perfect time to look for work. There will never be the perfect time to just find many hours in your day to accomplish things that are the most important to you. But if they're most important to you, they're in your heart for a reason. So we need to listen to that. The other thing that I'm mentioning here that may help to structure your focused time, your focused hour, and how I personally do this is like one specific goal is going to have many components to it. Like I mentioned, hosting this Q&A event that's happening this week that I'd love to see you at. It has many, many, many different mini items that I need to check off. And I'm going to basically bunch them together and make sure they're all done within one block. And then, of course, I might come back and do this on another day as well to go deeper on it. It doesn't mean like, say you were writing a book. It doesn't mean you're going to write your book in one sitting, but you are going to have those time blocks to work on that critical project all the time. Another example I'll mention is like starting a business. When I started this business, it was really overwhelming. There was a lot when you think of it. There's like the sales, the marketing, the frameworks, the actual coaching, the accounting, the podcast, the brainstorming, like there's so many things that go into it. And it would be overwhelming if you just let it up to chance, especially because I was working in a corporate job full time when I was getting this off the ground. So it would just never happen, Mike. And then people ask me, like, how was it that like within a month you replaced your corporate income as a director? Well, it's like because I had the focus, right? So going deep is going to really be helpful instead of going wide and trying to do all these random things. If you had on your list a bunch of different things every day, it's just overwhelming and it wouldn't get you very far, right? So if I tried to do like, let's say, sales, marketing, coaching calls, and record a podcast all on one day, like I'd probably lose my mind. I wouldn't feel like I'm making any traction because I'm not going deep on any one thing. So really focusing where you're going to go deep, right? I'll give you another example. Like when I'm creating content, I am literally looking at the whole month. Like, which episodes do I want to plan for? I'm not just like getting on the mic one day and just randomly talking about a certain topic. It's like I'm planning for this so it makes sense so that there's structure so one can follow the other and nothing is let up to chance. Now, a lot of people have trouble saying no. And this was me some time ago as well. I'm very good at saying no now. And it's like, not right now. I'll give you an example. My marketing manager, when we're preparing for an event, she needs certain videos from me. She needs me to film certain things. And she'll be like, oh, okay, well, you have like 3 business days to do it. And she's like, I'll send you this. And like, these are our timelines. And I'm like, no, I want to do things. I need to know the plan in advance. And I'll tell her, like, I'm going to look at this on Monday, the 20th. And then you can have feedback 3 days later, on the 23rd. And we plan for it that way because I am not someone that you can just message and on a whim, like have me randomly switch the whole day and like have me focus on what is important to you in your department, right? Sometimes, of course, there are super urgent things, and that's why there are blocks for those super urgent things, like catching up on the Slacks and the emails at a specific time of day, but it's never going to interrupt that focused hour. Okay, so that's the first one, but there are 2. Okay, so I do that every day. And then I also have another time block, which I'd love to break down for you. Both of these time blocks are about how you structure your energy to get most out of your energy and your attention. Your attention is a limited resource. And when we're fragmenting it between all of these different sources and all of the different aspects of our lives, it gets very muddled. And then we don't move forward on any one thing in a meaningful way. So when you think about it, when something gets overwhelming, like job search, like starting a business, like launching a podcast, like being in a new job, you have to do all these things in a new job. When things get overwhelming, what we need is focus to ground us, right? So your job search is the same. It is a project. It's not panic. You need project days. You need deep focus days. And then that is where you do things logically in order to make sure that you are hitting the goals that you set out for yourself. So maybe in week 1, you're doing one aspect. The next day, you're redoing your LinkedIn. The next day, you're writing your pitch and so on. So you have that mental clarity and focus. I love working on flights. I have probably said that a million times. But the reason, when we go into the reason for this, is because there are no distractions. So recently, I was coming back from many flights. I had a 5-hour flight to Vegas there and back, which is 10 hours of work, uninterrupted, no distraction, focused time. You can imagine I was in like complete heaven. I'm obsessed with being in the air and not having internet, like actually having deep focus to write. Like sometimes on a flight back from Paris, 7 hours, I journaled. I remember it was like something like 50 pages or something completely ridiculous, just with so much creativity and flow because there was no interruptions. I was flying alone, so I had no one I could even speak to. The only distractions were ones I was going to create for myself. So as a true introvert, I love no interruption kind of time. And I know that certain days are going to be meeting days where I'm meeting with my team, I'm meeting with my clients, I'm hosting calls, I'm hosting events. There's like so much going on, but literally you need that time to be disconnected. And it just reminds me that so many people say that they don't have the time, but you do have the time. You just need the focus. We all have the same number of hours, right? It's just how we structure our time, and it's about what we get done in that time. So task switching is going to kill your productivity. As soon as you jump from one task to another, you're going to lose focus, and it takes about 20 minutes to fully refocus again or catch yourself up on that thing. Like picture opening up your laptop right now to go apply for work. If you just applied to one job and closed your laptop and moved on, next time you open your laptop, it's going to take 5 minutes. Then you're going to go to the site. It's going to take 5 minutes. You're going to scroll. You're going to filter. You're going to read the same thing you just applied to, and then you're going to read another one. It's just a waste of time. So people that don't protect their attention, who don't work in sprints, are going to be fragmented. They are going to lose their attention. And I don't want this for you. I am obsessed. So I want you to try this if you're not already doing it, and have a structured block every single day. And you're going to see how much faster you can move through your goals in just 1 month. There are certain things that I thought would take me a year to accomplish that I got done in 1 month. I'll share another example with you very soon about that secret project. I literally slated like 6 months to something that I got done on one flight from Hawaii in 12 hours. The sooner you can get your goals accomplished, then the more flexibility and the more time you get back for all of those other things you need to do. So when you sit down for your job search for a big project, I never recommend less than 30 minutes. I think 1 hour is perfect. It's kind of like that golden hour where you can do so much. And I also love a 2 to 3 hour block depending on the project. Okay. That's the focus one. Let's move on to the second one, which is called the abundance hour. So I do the abundance hour Monday to Thursday every single week, unless I am away or hosting events or traveling. And the abundance hour is different. So it's similar where you're going to have the focus and you're going to be focusing only on one thing. But the abundance hour is all about thinking about your wealth and what is going to bring you the most abundance that you're looking for in your life. And we all have different definitions of abundance. So for you, you may have goals to reach a certain, let's say, promotion. Let's say you're looking to be promoted to VP, to director, whatever that is. Maybe you're looking to be promoted at your job. That's the perfect example where you know this promotion is going to lead to more abundance of many different things, but probably financially as well. And when you think about what do I need to do in order to make that achievable, then you set aside the hour that's going to lead to your abundance. So, of course, I believe in living your most abundant life. I believe in designing a life that is so beyond your wildest dreams that it would scare you to look at your life 5 years from now and just like wonder how much more amazing it is. And your definition of abundance might be literally having a farm with chickens on it and like doing that all day, or, having someone else take care of you in some way. It might be your abundant life might be getting, I don't know, a promotion, like we mentioned, getting a new job where you like 2x your salary. That could be your version of abundance. When we all have different versions. For me, I have specific business goals. So a business is not a hobby. It is something that needs to generate revenue. And that's a really critical part of it. So that will lead to impacting more people, changing more lives, and creating a bigger impact and ripple effect in the world. So I have abundance goals every single day. So I think about what is the one thing that I could do. And I think about this every single day and I take action for 1 hour. And maybe it's providing a certain value to someone. Maybe it's checking in with people that I know were in my DMs that were struggling, right? Maybe the abundance hour is creating a new program, a new coaching offer, right? To be able to put that into the world. So I think about it like the focused hour are the biggest goals that we have. And they might be specific to like right now you're completing your MBA. So you need specific focused hours to do that. But your abundance hour is a little bit different. It's like looking at your biggest goals and really identifying what your most abundant life would look like and what are the steps you need to take in order to get there. So if it's that promotion, what do you need to do? What conversations do you need to have? What mentors do you need to have? What supporters in the business do you need to have that would say amazing things at your review? Like what projects do you need to get done to put down on your performance review to prove that you're ready for that next director, that manager role, right? Think about your most abundant life and what can bring you there closer. You can tie this to finances or not. It is completely up to you. Like if your abundant goal was obviously to have like a homestead and chickens running around and buying a farm, then it's like figuring out, okay, financially, how will you do that? And what are the things you need to do on a day-to-day basis to move yourself forward in that way? I always like to think about the big vision of our life. And, fortunately or unfortunately, I know what it's like to be super poor. And I know how much harder that makes your life, right? Starting out the first like 15, 20 years of my life were really challenging from a financial perspective growing up, as an immigrant and starting our lives over here. And I've gone through that story, I think, on the first couple episodes of the podcast, if you haven't heard it. But it's really important for me. I've seen the difference of having an abundant life and how that changes things and how much easier it is. And I see my son and how he gets to travel first class in a pod and order his own snacks and he's laying there. And that's not an everyday experience, but it's definitely one I'm so grateful that he has to open his mind to the thoughts of abundance and creating that type of life for himself as well. Now, I know that finances will literally even be important if your goals are to have chickens on a farm, because you might live in a really expensive place too, but living in Toronto, land is very expensive. So that would be many millions of dollars to actually actualize that dream, if that's your dream, right? Maybe it's buying a cottage, like whatever those goals are, they often do take financial wealth and resources. Thinking about what is going to bring you closer to that abundant life that you have. And often they're tied together, right? Maybe your goal is to one day leave your current job and start a business, start a different type of business and do something different, change your life. Well, that's going to take financial resources as well. When I left corporate and started my business, one of the first things that I did was hire a coach, and it was $8,000. And I remember my hand shaking because I didn't have any money that the business generated. Like the business at that point had nothing. I hadn't even started it. But the first thing I did was make an investment in that. So that would have been an abundant plan to create more abundance in my life for the future. So I hope this is making sense. Basically, the focused hour, I think you understand it. It is super clear. It's like no distractions. What is the number one project that would move you forward towards your dreams? The abundance is really more focused in on what are your abundant dreams for your life? What would be your version of an incredibly wealthy and abundant life, whether that includes finances or not? And how can you move closer to that? What are the actions that you can take today to move you forward? So I hope this was super helpful. And here is your challenge for this week. So I want you to create your focused schedule, your abundance schedule. And even if it's just an hour a day, to completely change the quality of your life, your job search, your peace. Small actions, just 1 hour a day, lead to big, big results, especially when your time is not fragmented, when you're really focused deeply on one project. What really comes to mind actually is my husband at his last company. They had really believed in this focus time. And I think that is where I actually started really understanding this concept. So this was probably like 6 years ago now. And I remember how the executive team would sit down together every single day and they would be focused on one thing together. And it's like the power of people working all on one specific thing. And their company was a hyper growth company. And it ended up growing so freaking quickly and it sold. And it was just incredible. But the reason they were able to do that is because the executive team had that deep focus. They were never going to read emails between getting the biggest goals of the company accomplished. And that's a very beautiful thing. So assign that 1 hour a day completely to focus on you and your goals and what you want to accomplish, something that you're passionate about that would change your life, that would make your life more abundant, that would give you more peace of mind. And remember, if this is job search, if it's about finding more fulfillment in what you do at work, if it's finding your next opportunity, that's amazing. But that will require focus to do that well and to do it strategically. As always, if this episode resonated with you and if you want more, if you want to come and chat with me live, I know the podcast is like literally a one-way conversation. I'm talking to myself here alone in my office. But if you want to come join me this week, I'm doing a live Q&A call where you can join and literally ask me anything. So please show up. I love hearing what's resonating with you. I would love to support you in your search. This is a way that I'm giving back. So please come and join me. I'd love to see you there. And also, if this episode resonated with you, please leave me a review on Spotify or Apple. If you've left a Spotify review, freaking amazing. Go on Apple now, leave one there. It really helps me to continue to put my focus and my energy into this channel so it can bring you abundance as well. Also, feel free to connect with me on Instagram or LinkedIn if you haven't already. I'm Career Coach Irina and Irina Pozan on LinkedIn, and I can't wait to chat with you in the DMs. See you next week. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.